Wow, what a beautiful, gorgeous, magical individual with a mysterious source of income. I wonder where that comes from. Wow, huh? Yeah, no, I'm coming out as a stripper. I'm coming out as a stripper, guys. I've been a stripper for 3 years now. Whew, I did not think I would be doing it for that long. Honestly, I thought I'd be doing it a couple months here and there, get my money, bounce, leave. But no, in this economy, girl, in this economy, I don't know how y'all be doing it on minimum wage. I am not going back to, like, I do not know how to do that. I no longer know how to do that. I might do that if I need to. But I don't know how you guys do it because even as a stripper, girl, it's too much. Anyways, I'm quitting the strip club. I'm kidding. I'm quitting sex work. I'm not doing sex work anymore. This is gonna be like my last hurrah. I don't even know. I'm not working next week. I don't know. I might work in June so that I can pay rent for the month of July, but that's about it. I don't know if I want to pay rent anymore, guys. Like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna be a monk. I'm being so for real. I'm being so honest. I'm being so dead ass. I will be a monk. I am going to be a monk. And yeah, I'm quitting the club. Like, yeah, I've been a stripper for 3 years, and let me tell you, the first year, not bad. I was pretty like, I was good. Like, girl, look at me. I'm good. I was good, and I am good. I'm literally good. The second year is when it started to be more difficult. I don't know what year that was. Like, if you do the math, I guess 2024. 2024 is when it started to be more difficult because, like, the recession really hit, you know? The recession really started in 2024. So money was very different than it was the previous year. Money was very different. And then 2025, last year, I actually didn't work that much. I maybe worked like 10 shifts in the whole year. I did not work that much. I was doing other things, you know, I haven't been only stripping. Like, I do some contract work. I'm an artist. I'm a yoga teacher now. Like, so I do other things to make money. It's not my sole source of income, but it is my main and has been my main source of income since I've started the job because of the fact that it is more money than being an artist. Like, you do get more money at the strip club than being an artist. And I've had big contracts, you know, I've had small contracts, big contracts. I've done the things. I've done the works. You know, I've had a regular job. I was working at a gallery for a little bit. Like, I've done the works. I've done the rounds. I've done my things. But yeah, no, like, the strip club has been my main source of income and I hate it. I hate it now. I'm at a point now where I actually genuinely hate it. I didn't even want to go back to the club this year. I did not want to go back to the club this year at all. And now I'm here because I need money. I need to pay rent. And now that I've officially decided that I'm going to be a monk, which I only decided like not even 7 days ago, I decided this. Today's Saturday. I decided on Monday morning that I wanted to be a monk, that, like, officially, like, officially. When I went to Vipassana 2 weeks ago, I was like, yeah, you know, I could definitely dedicate myself to meditation. But now I'm like, 2 weeks later, I'm like, girl, I'm gonna be a monk. I'm gonna be a monk. I want a way out of suffering. Like, I know you're not supposed to want things. I know you're not supposed to want things attached to them. I'm not attached, okay? I'm not attached to being a monk. I just know that I'm going to do that because once I decide something, once I put my mind to something, I'm doing it. And I want enlightenment. I'm sorry. What? Who doesn't want to be free from suffering? I want to be free from suffering. Okay? I want to be free from suffering. Whether that happens or not is a completely different question. But I know even the place where I'm now, 2 weeks after Vipassana, I have far less misery, far less suffering, so much more love in my heart. Imagine if I dedicate a year of my life. Imagine if I dedicate a year of my life to meditation. Girl, I'm gonna be unstoppable. Nobody gonna get me mad. Nobody gonna get me upset for real. And even now, like, I'm a very passionate person, but I'm not upset with anyone. I'm not angry with anyone. I have no trace of upsetness or anger in my heart, not even for Donald fucking Trump. Maybe that's controversial to say that. And of course, when I think of certain situations, of course, when I think of capitalism, of course it makes me upset. If I think about it long enough, of course I'm gonna get angry. But it's the way of life. Why would I get angry at something that I have no control over? No use. No point. Then I just might as well get angry with myself. I mean, honestly, at that point. And yeah, so I'm gonna be a monk. Last night, I worked at the strip club I live in Montreal. It's F1 weekend. I worked at the strip club last night. And I met quite a few people. And last night was my first time working where I really realized like I need to quit the strip club and I need to be a monk. Like, because I decided to be a monk on Monday and I worked Monday night. And Monday night working, I was like, okay, I can't be a stripper anymore. Like once I decided to be a monk, I can't be a stripper anymore. I literally can't do it anymore. So last night was my first time working, knowing that I'm going to stop working as soon as possible. Literally as soon as possible. I'm going to stop working. I don't care if I have any money. I don't care about money anymore. Genuinely, I don't care about money. I actually hate it. I actually hate money. But money is not something. Fuck, I can't say I hate money because I don't hate anything. I don't like money. I might not hate it, obviously. Girl, who actually hates money? It's not possible because money is what the world is based off of right now. So I can't hate money. I just don't like it. I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy money. I don't enjoy making money. I don't even want to make money anymore. Genuinely, I've released that desire because what I actually want is freedom. What I actually want is freedom, time freedom, food freedom, sovereignty. That's what I actually want. I don't care about money. So last night was my first time working at a strip club, fully deciding that this will be one of the last few times that I work at a strip club and that I want to be a monk. And it was really interesting. I approached things very differently last night. I was far more honest, far more authentic and honest with people, which is one thing because working at the strip club, it's like there's no point in being honest because people don't actually care about you. Most of the people that you talk to don't actually care about you at all. Last night I had like some nights I like will just tell frivolous lies like I say my age is like a year different than what it actually is and I'll like I have frivolous lies here and there and I'll say like instead of a filmmaker or film student I'll say I'm like in painting and drawing or like photography. Like I go with painting and drawing because I do like to paint and I do like to draw though I'm not a student. But that's like what I tell people I major in and stuff like that. I'm graduated. But last night I had like a wave of like honesty. Like I just didn't care to lie. I just actually didn't care to lie. So instead of lying, I just didn't. And my first actual interaction with my client of the night, I like looked him so deep in the eyes and that's just something I do now. I don't know. I just actually love eye contact and I look people deep in the eyes and I've always been that way for years. I've always done that, but especially after Vipassana, my eye contact is different. I look at people very differently than I did before Vipassana. And so I looked at him in the eyes and he was like, "Whoa." That was the first thing he said to me. He was like, "Whoa, you make serious eye contact." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to connect with you. I want to look at you and see you." And he was like, "Wow, I can tell because of the way that you're looking at me." And he was like, "You're an intense person." And I was like, yeah, for sure. I can be, for sure. And he was like, "Yeah, because you love eye contact. Like, you want to, like, look into my soul." And I was like, "Yeah, what else is the point? Why else would I be here? And I can tell you like it because you're looking right back at me." And so I was flirting with him and, doing my thing. And we were talking, and I was being so, so honest. I was literally being the most honest ever. He was asking me questions about like, I don't know, for some reason we started talking about craziness and crazy people. We got on the topic of craziness and I was like, "Oh, isn't this crazy?" He was like, "Isn't that crazy?" I was like, "Aren't you crazy?" He was like, "Yes, I am crazy." "Aren't you crazy?" I was like, "Yes, I am crazy." And we started talking about it and I realized I was like, we're the same type of crazy. You're a perfectionist, I'm a perfectionist. We're both crazy in the same way. And he was like, "Oh, I bet you're like this." And I was like, I can be. And he was like, "Oh, no, you definitely told the guy that you wanted to kill him before. You definitely." I was like, "No, why would I say that? I've never told anyone that I would kill them ever. Why would I ever say that?" He was like, "Because you get jealous and blah, blah, blah." I was like, "No, I don't get jealous in the way that I tell people that I'm going to kill them. I would never do that." But no, it was really interesting, like what people see and how people interact with you when you're like completely honest with them. And then my second client of the night, he was really funny. For whatever reason, like the second he saw my ass, he was like, he was obsessed. Simply put, the second he saw my ass, he was obsessed. And so we went for a dance. And first of all, he was like, he really wanted to know me. He was like, "What is up?" Like, he really, really wanted to know me. And he loved my ass, of course. He really wanted to know me. And I was like, "Okay." I'll tell you about me. He was like, I don't know how this came up, but he wanted, like, I could tell he wanted honesty. I could tell he wanted actually, one of the first things he asked me was, do you like this job? Actually, no, he asked me, like, how long have you been working? And then I was reflecting. I was like, this is how long have you been working? He was like, do you like this job? And usually I lie because when somebody asks you that at the strip club, like, do you like being a stripper? You're supposed to say yes. You're supposed to say, yeah, like you're a stripper. Yeah, I love it. I love this job. I don't know why I didn't feel like lying this day. And I don't know, maybe I felt his energy. I felt like he didn't want me to lie. So he asked me if I like the job, and without a second, without even thinking about it, I said no. I was like, no, I do not like this job. And I was like, oopsies. Was I supposed to say yes? Was I supposed to lie and say yes? And he was like, nah, you don't have to lie with me. I figured you wouldn't like it. I figured you don't like this job. And I was like, oh, why do you think so? And he was like, I guess I figure most people don't like this job, and they only do it for, the money. It's like, well, for sure, some people do it because they genuinely like it, but I figured most people do it for the money. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, and so he was like, if you don't like this job, why are you doing it? And I was like, oh, I like freedom. I want the freedom that it gives. And he was like, oh, okay, what do you like to do? I like to travel. He was like, oh, okay, where are you off to next? And I was like, probably India. Probably, I was just in India. I'll probably go back. He was like, oh, okay, what are you going to do? And I was like, actually, I want to be a monk. I don't know why I said that to him. I don't know why, but I was like, let me be honest. I was like, yeah, I want to be a monk. He was like, what? Bro, the look on his face when I told him that, he was shocked. He was shocked. He was like, what? He was like, what? I was like, yeah, like, I want to be a monk. He was like, what does that mean? You know what it means. Like, you know what it means to be a monk. He was like, oh, so you want to, like, not talk to people? And I was like, not necessarily. Like, I probably would still talk to people every once in a while, but yeah, like, that's a part of it. And he was like, okay, well, what do monks do? And I was like, oh, well, they just meditate all day. And he's like, and they don't talk to people. I was like, have you ever met a monk? He was like, yeah, I met a monk once at a funeral. My Vietnamese friend's funeral, there was a monk there, and he didn't talk to anyone. I was like, okay, yeah, like, I'm not going to be him, but I want to be a monk. He was shocked. He did not understand it at all. He was like, don't you think that's a waste? I was like, a waste of what? He was like, a waste of your life. You're young, you're beautiful, you could do so many things. I was like, no, it's not a waste, because at the end of the day, I want to heal myself. I want to heal myself and be a healer. Like, I want to be a monk. Like, I want to invest so much time and energy in myself. What's a year of my life? I'm not going to be a monk forever, probably just a year or two. He was like, okay. But what do monks do? What do monks do? He was so confused. He didn't get it. He loved it, though. He loved it so much. He literally loved it so much. He was like, wow, that's amazing. I love your mind. Like, I can tell you're such a real person. I can tell you're honest and genuine, because what other girl would tell me that they want to be a monk? Can you even be a monk? Can girls even be monks? I was like, I mean, no, I would probably be like a nun. But he was like, oh, no, don't be a nun. And I was like, what do you mean? A nun and a monk is the same thing. He was like, nah, don't do that. So you're not going to have sex? I was like, no, I'm not going to have sex. He was like, when's the last time you had sex? I told him when's the last time I had sex, a while ago. And he was like, oh, wow, that's a shame, that's a shame. You should be having sex all the time. I was like, nah, I tried that. It wasn't good for me. He was like, oh, yeah. Are you like a sex addict? And that's why you want to be a monk, because you're a sex addict? I was like, no, I'm not a sex addict. I'm a sex addict. He's like, I'm a sex addict. He's like, I'm addicted to sex. I was like, oh, babe, yeah. He was like, yeah, it's hard. Anyways, tell me, like, what I should do about it. I was like, oh, well, for me, like, I did meditation. And he didn't want to talk about himself. He was so interested in me. He was like, wow, I really love your mind. You're so beautiful. You're so gorgeous. And you have the best ass ever. Wow. I love your mind, When I first saw your ass, I was like, I love your ass. Your ass is perfect. Your ass is... And look at your tits. Your tits are amazing. Your tits are perfect. I love touching your tits. Blah, 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 blah. Tits. He was like, but I saw your ass, and I was like, and then I gave you a tip on stage, and then you came to me and you talked to me, and you asked me for a dance, and I was like, yeah, totally, I want to dance. He was like, this is my first time at a strip club in 5 years, like, totally, I want to dance. Just cause you're ass, man. Like, and then you looked at me and you smiled, and I saw you had personality. I saw you had personality in your eyes. So I was like, of course I'm getting a dance from you. It was so hard to wait. It was so hard to wait for you because you told me to wait, and there's so many other options, but I knew I just had to wait for you. And look, I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that I'm dancing with you right now. And he kept telling me, it's a waste. It's a waste since you want to be a monk, but somebody should be fucking you every single day. You should be getting fucked every single day, And I was like, nah, that's not good for me, like, I don't want that. Desire, what they say about desire. He was like, what do they say? I was like, you know what they say about desire. He was like, no, what do they say? I was like, desire is the root. Come on, you know what they say. He was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, you've never heard that? He was like, genuinely, I've never heard that before. Desire is the root of all suffering. He was like, I've never heard that before. How have you never heard that before? Desire is the root of... You've never heard that before? He was like, no, I've never heard that before. I was like, damn, you never heard that before. That's crazy. Well, yeah, desire is the root of all suffering. He was like, but your ass, though. Like, somebody needs to be touching your ass, like, every second of the day. Like, every minute of the day. Don't you think somebody should be touching your ass every second of the day? I was like, nah. I was like, nah, babe, I'm gonna be a monk. He was like, wow. And I know you're serious. I know you're serious that you're gonna be a monk. Please don't be a monk. I was like, no, I'm gonna be a monk. He's like, I know. And you know what? I know you're gonna be awesome at it. I know you're gonna be a great, because whatever you do, whatever you set your mind to, I know you're gonna do it. And I was like, yeah, you're so right, babe. And at the end, he was like hugging me, and he was like, please don't be a monk. Please don't. He was like, yeah, so when are you going to be a monk? And I was like, I'm going to go slowly. Maybe at the end of the summer, I'll start being a monk. Like, I'll be a monk a little bit in a month, and then 2 months, I'll be a little bit more of a monk, and I'll slowly transition to being a monk. And then by the end of the year, I'll be full monk mode. And he was like, okay, please don't be a monk. And then I had another guy who's also really nice, but he got me all wrong. He thought he was like, I bet you have kids. I was like, how old do you think I am? He said 21. He was like, I bet you have a little girl. I was like, I do have a little girl, actually, and her name is Venus. That's my stripper name. Because at first he didn't believe. He was like, oh, tell me your real name. I'm like, Venus is as close as you're going to get, babe. And then he was like, I bet you have a little girl. I was like, I do have a little girl. Her name's Venus. He was like, I knew it. And I was like, Venus is my little girl. She's my cat. She's my little kitty cat. He was like, you're lying. I was like, no, girl. Venus is my cat. He's like, I don't believe you. Show me a picture. I showed him a picture. He's like, okay. I believe you. I was like, why would I lie? Why would I lie about having a little girl that's actually my cat? He got me all wrong. But he was nice. He gave me a lot of advice, and he was nice. He was chill. But, like, just interesting conversations. The second I decided to be honest. And then my last client of the night. My last client was really interesting. My last client, I had, 5 minutes left of the night. I was like, okay, let me go, see what money I can make in the last 5 minutes. I randomly bump into a guy, and I decide to talk to him. I'm like, you want to dance? He's like, no. I look at his friends. I'm like, do any of you want dances? I see one guy who's thinking about it. I'm like, okay, come with me. I know you want to dance? Come with me. Not a lot of time left. We go to the back. The booths are all full, so we have to wait for a booth. Okay, waiting for a booth. Okay, we finally get a booth. There's 3 minutes left. He has a $50 bill. He gives me the $50 bill. He's like, please keep track of the time because I can't keep track of the time. I don't want to cheat you. This is all the money I have. I don't have any more money. Please keep track of the time. I'm like, yeah, babe, we literally have 3 minutes left. Thank you for your money. We get to talking. I ask him where he's from. He's like, I'm from New York. And he's like, actually, I'm not from New York. I'm like, okay, so where are you from? You immigrated to America? He was like, yeah, I immigrated. I was like, okay, you're probably from Northern Europe. He's like, oh, how'd you know that? You're good. Okay, yeah, you're right. And I was like, oh, okay, let me guess. Sweden. I knew he wasn't Swedish, but I just was like, Sweden? I was like, Northern Europe, Sweden? He's like, nah, but you're close. You're getting really warm, but you're close. I was like, okay. Norway? I knew he was a Norwegian. He was like, nah, but you're close. I was like, Finland. He was like, you got it. I was like, how did I know? He's like, how'd you know? We're talking. He's like, oh, are you working tomorrow? Yeah, I'm working. He's like, oh, you're not striking? I was like, nah, there's no point for me to strike. Why would I strike? They're striking to lower the bar fee. I don't care about that. I want a union. I would prefer a union. I don't need a lower bar fee. Like, I'm all for strikes. I believe in strikes. But it needs to be useful to me. Otherwise, why would I strike? He was like, the organizers, they just do what they want. And I was like, yeah, but the organizers should listen to the people. The organizers should give people what they actually want, what they actually need. He was like, yeah, but organizers, they're doing it for themselves a bit. So at first they do it for the people, and then they start to do it for themselves, and they stop listening to the people. I was like, facts. Facts. Wow. So many interesting conversations today. Like, don't you think they should, listen to people? He's like, yeah, of course. But, the ego gets involved. Whenever you give people power and give them the power to organize, eventually they'll stop listening to you. I was like, oh, wow. Facts. Interesting. Just the way he was talking about the strike and organizing and, so much sense. I was like, what's your sign? He's like, I'm like a Taurus Gemini. I was like, oh, so your birthday's today? He was like, yeah, my birthday's today. You're good. I was like, wow, I'm good. He was like, you really know people. You must be really good with people. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with people. I was like, how old are you turning? He was like, I'm not going to tell you that. How old do you think I'm turning? I was like, probably late 30s. He didn't say anything. We started talking about something else. I don't know what we started talking about. He was cool. At the end of the dance, like I said, it was 3-4 minutes. I was like, you never told me how old you were. He was like, you were right, though. You were right. I was like, 38. He was like, oh, how'd you know? Yeah. I've gotten pretty good at guessing things about people. I could, especially at the club. And just in general, maybe it's my meditation, maybe it's my yoga, but I've gotten pretty good at guessing things about people. I've guessed people's names. I've guessed people the first letter of their name. If I can't get the name, I'll get the first letter of the name. I don't know anything about them. I guess their age. Oh, this other client that I was talking to, I was like, you have kids, right? He was like, yeah. I was like, how old are your kids? He was like, guess. At first I said 5. He was like, oh, you're humoring me. You're being nice to me. And I was like, okay, you have a kid that's 17. He was like, 16. And I was like, okay, you have a kid that's 13. He was like, 14. I'm good. He was like, you're good. I was like, I'm good. I've gotten really good at guessing. So yeah, I've just decided I'm going to be a monk and I'm going to stop working in the strip club. So I was like, might as well not keep it a secret anymore. Why do I need to keep it a secret? I asked one of my fellow coworker friends, I was like, should I come out on the internet as a stripper? She was like, yeah, why not? I don't see any issue. The only reason I see for people hiding the fact that they're strippers is because 1, they don't want their parents to know, and 2, they're ashamed. And I was like, yeah, you're so right. Because I am a bit ashamed. I have been a bit ashamed. I also don't want some of my family to know, but yeah, I have been a bit ashamed. So yeah, that's why I'm coming out as a stripper. I've decided I'm going to be a monk officially. I'm going to be a nun. So any family members who are watching this that are like, oh, I'm mad that you're a stripper. Well, girl, I'm going to be a nun soon. So, Jesus loved sex workers. No, I'm not going to be a nun. I'm going to be a monk. And then also the guy who was like, don't be a monk. He was like, can girls even be monks? And I was like, well, actually, I'm going to be ascetic. I'm going to be an ascetic. He was like, what's that? I was like, oh, just like a spiritual person that derives themselves from all pleasurable desires and sensations. He was like, wow, really? You're going to do that? You're not going to have sex? Really? Yeah, I'm not going to have sex. Might as well throw my whole vibrator away. I was thinking about cutting my dildo in half.